I'm a little out of words. I think this time of the year is a tough moment for a lot.
Globally, do you have a sense of, sorry, I'm not trying to give you an ego here, but like if you look at the numbers on YouTube for like the pre-tournament press conferences, how much people watch some of yours?
I think that I make a difference. That's what the only thing I can do to give back to my country is to help inspire change.
The $10 million rejection, Eala'S tear-jerking gesture that broke the internet. In the high-stakes world of professional tennis, cash is usually king. We are talking about a universe where endorsements are signed in the blink of an eye, where teenagers are turned into corporations before they even have a driver's license, and where the line between an athlete and a billboard gets blurrier every single day. We live in an era where the headlines are dominated by nine-figure contracts, luxury yacht vacations, and diva behavior that makes the tabloids salivate. The sport has become a gladiatorial arena where young phenoms are packaged, marketed, and sold to the highest bidder before they can even legally drink champagne at their victory celebrations. But then there is Eala'S. What if I told you that in the middle of a swirling storm of rumors, whispers of a $10 million offer that would change anyone's life instantly, this young Filipino superstar didn't look at the check. She didn't look at the agents. She didn't look at the flashing lights. She looked at a shaking little girl in the stands. It is the moment that has the entire sports world buzzing. It's the story that made a grown man cry on live television. And it is the single gesture that proves that while you can put a price tag on a brand, you cannot put a price tag on a heart of gold. Today we are going deep. We are breaking down the viral sensation, the rumors of the mega millions, the truth about Eala'S' meteoric rise into the elite ranks of women's tennis, and the tear-jerking interaction involving a single racket and a father's love that has redefined what it means to be a champion in the modern age. Put down your phone, grab your tissues, and get ready because you are not going to believe what happened when the match clock stopped. This is the story of the $10 million rejection, and it's a story that will restore your faith in what sports can truly be about. To understand the weight of this moment, you first have to understand the pressure cooker atmosphere Eala'S walks into every single time she steps on the court. We aren't just watching a tennis player. We are watching a national phenomenon, a living embodiment of an entire country's dreams and aspirations. Imagine the pressure for just 1 second. You are 20 years old. You are the first Filipino to ever win a junior Grand Slam. You are the first Filipino to reach a WTA 1000 semifinal. The hopes of over 100 million people ride on every single forehand you hit. When Eala'S plays, the Philippines stops. Traffic slows down. Social media explodes. It's not just a game. It's national pride wrapped up in a 5'7" package with a lethal lefty forehand. And with that pride comes the noise, the relentless, suffocating noise of modern sports celebrity. The business sharks are circling. You've seen the headlines, haven't you? The rumors have been flying wildly over the last few months, swirling through social media like a tropical storm. Stories about billion-dollar offers from the Middle East. Rumors of massive shoe deals worth $45 million. The internet is flooded with speculation that Eala'S is about to become the richest female athlete in Asian history. Whether those specific numbers are real or internet hyperbole doesn't really matter because the reality is undeniable. Eala'S is a goldmine. Brands want her face on their billboards. Tournaments want her presence in their draws. In the cutthroat ecosystem of the WTA, where today's rising star is tomorrow's forgotten footnote, she is the next big thing with a capital N, capital B, capital T. The commercial appeal is staggering when you really break it down. She represents not just the Philippines but the entire Southeast Asian market, a demographic that sponsors have been desperately trying to crack for decades. She's young, she's talented, she's photogenic, and she carries herself with a grace that translates beautifully across cultures. Marketing executives literally dream about athletes like Eala'S. She checks every single box on their wish list and then adds a few more boxes they didn't even know existed. So picture the scene. It's the end of a grueling match. The humidity is suffocating, the kind that makes your clothes stick to your skin and makes every breath feel like you're inhaling soup. The tension is palpable. The suits, the agents, the VIPs, the people whispering about that alleged $10 million offer are watching her every move from their air-conditioned luxury boxes. They expect her to wave to the VIP section. They expect her to walk straight to the camera for the post-match interview to talk about her ranking points and her next tournament. They expect her to play the game, to follow the script that has been written for every tennis star since the days when the sport went professional. But Alex had other plans. Plans that would shake the entire tennis world to its core and remind us all why we fell in love with sports in the first place. The match had just ended. The final point was played, and the roar of the crowd was deafening, echoing off the stadium walls like thunder. But amidst the chaos of cheering fans and frantic photographers jockeying for position, something unusual happened. Something that doesn't fit the typical narrative of modern professional sports. Reports confirmed that while the buzz about contracts and money was whispering in the background, that metaphorical $10 million noise that follows every superstar like a shadow, Alex never even paused to acknowledge it. She didn't look at the VIP section where the power brokers sat. She didn't preen for the global broadcast feed that was beaming her image to millions of homes worldwide. Her eyes locked onto something else entirely. Up in the stands, buried in a sea of people, was a young girl. She couldn't have been more than 8 or 9 years old. She wasn't sitting in a luxury box with complimentary champagne and catered sushi. She was in the regular seats, the affordable ones, clutching a handmade sign that had clearly taken hours to make. The letters were slightly crooked, decorated with hearts and stars in crayon and marker. But she wasn't cheering. She wasn't screaming Alex's name like the other fans. She was frozen, completely paralyzed. She was shaking. Beside her, a man, her father, was trying to steady her hands. You could see the anxiety and the adoration in his face, the way his eyes darted between his daughter and the court. He had probably saved up for months to buy those tickets. He had probably driven hours, maybe even taken a day off work he couldn't really afford to lose, just to give his daughter a glimpse of her hero. He had probably promised his little girl this moment for weeks, building it up as the adventure of a lifetime. And now that the moment was here, the little girl was overwhelmed. She was paralyzed by the sheer magnitude of seeing her idol in the flesh, breathing the same air, standing just meters away. Security guards usually keep players away from the stands. There is a protocol. There is a barrier, both physical and metaphorical, between the athletes and the fans. It's about safety, about maintaining order, about keeping the machine running smoothly. But Eala'S, fresh off a battle that had left her drenched in sweat and exhausted to her core, ignored the protocol. She grabbed one thing from her bag. Not a towel to sign. Not a wristband or a headband. She grabbed her match racket. The weapon she had just used to go to war, the tool that had delivered winners and absorbed the impact of 1,000 shots. She walked straight to the stands. The crowd realized what was happening and a hush fell over the arena, the kind of silence that only descends when something truly special is about to occur. This wasn't a planned PR stunt. There were no cameras positioned for a close-up until the operators frantically zoomed in, realizing they were witnessing something organic and real. Alex knelt down by the railing. She didn't tower over the fan. She got on her level, lowering herself so she could look the terrified little girl directly in the eye. She smiled that trademark warm smile that has charmed the entire tennis world, the smile that has launched 1,000 Instagram posts and melted 1,000,000 hearts, and gently extended the racket. The girl didn't move at first. She couldn't believe it. Her brain was refusing to process what her eyes were seeing. This was her hero, her idol, the person whose posters covered her bedroom walls, and she was offering her the actual racket she had just used in battle. The father had to nudge her, his own hands trembling now, tears already forming in the corners of his eyes. When the girl finally reached out and grasped the handle of the racket, her small fingers wrapping around the grip that was still warm from Alex's hands, the dam broke. The tears came fast. First from the little girl, who buried her face in the racket strings, sobbing with a mixture of joy and disbelief that such a perfect moment could actually exist in real life. Her body shook with the intensity of the emotion, years of admiration and dreams pouring out in a single cathartic release. But the image that really broke the internet, the image that went viral across every platform imaginable, was the father. Here was a grown man, standing amidst thousands of strangers, watching his daughter's life change in a split second. He wasn't crying because of the free gear. A tennis racket costs a few $100s. You can buy one at a store. Any parent can purchase equipment. He was crying because he knew what this meant on a deeper level. He was crying because he saw his daughter being seen. In a world that tells us we only matter if we are rich, famous, or powerful, Eala'S stopped the world to tell a little Filipino girl you matter. You are the most important person in this stadium right now. Not the VIPs in their luxury boxes. Not the sponsors with their checkbooks. You. The father covered his face with his hands, overcome with emotion, his shoulders shaking as he tried and failed to maintain his composure. He mouthed the words "thank you" to Eala'S, over and over again, his lips forming the words even as his voice failed him. Eala'S didn't rush away. She stayed for that extra second, nodding to the father, acknowledging the sacrifice he made to bring his child there. It was a silent communication between an athlete and a parent, a moment of shared humanity that cut through the noise of the rankings and the prize money and the endorsement deals. Two people from completely different worlds, connected by the simple act of kindness and the universal language of parental love. This is why we love sports. Not for the backhands or the aces. Not for the prize money or the trophies. But for moments like this. The $10 million offer that the rumors speak of? It's paper. It's numbers in a bank account. It's zeros on a screen that can disappear as quickly as they appear. But that racket in that little girl's hand? That is a memory that will last for 50 years. That is a story she will tell her grandchildren when they ask her why she fell in love with tennis. That is the moment that might inspire her to pick up a racket herself, to chase her own dreams, to believe that heroes are real and kindness matters. Let's take a step back and analyze why this specific story has gone so viral and why we are so obsessed with this. Because frankly, we are used to the opposite. We are used to seeing players smash their rackets in anger when they lose, throwing tantrums that would embarrass a toddler. We are used to seeing stars walk past screaming fans with their headphones on, too in the zone to care, treating the people who pay to watch them play like invisible furniture. We are used to the transactional nature of modern sports where fans are treated as customers, not people. Where every interaction is calculated, every gesture is focus grouped, and authenticity is just another marketing buzzword. When you look at the recent trajectory of Eala'S' career, this gesture becomes even more impressive. Let's look at the facts. The 2025 and 2026 seasons have been an absolute whirlwind for her. She has broken into the top 50 in the world, a milestone that seemed impossible just a few years ago when Filipino tennis was barely a blip on the global radar. She made history at the Miami Open, taking down giants and proving she belongs on the biggest stages. She has been training at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Spain, surrounded by the absolute elite of the sport, absorbing knowledge from some of the greatest minds in tennis history. Usually, when a player rises this fast, the ego rises with it. It's the entourage effect. They get surrounded by yes men who tell them they can do no wrong. They get insulated from the real world, cocooned in a bubble of luxury hotels and private jets and people who will agree with anything they say as long as the checks keep clearing. The pressure to maintain the image, to protect the brand, to maximize the earning potential becomes overwhelming. Players start seeing fans as obligations rather than the reason they have careers in the first place. But Eala'S has maintained a humility that is almost confusing to the Western sports media. Where does it come from? It comes from her roots. It comes from the puso, the heart, that Filipino athletes are famous for worldwide. It comes from her parents, Mike and Eala'S, who have been seen in tears themselves at the Southeast Asian Games, grounding her in family values even as her bank account grows and the opportunities multiply. There is a stark contrast here. On one side, you have the fake news industry churning out headlines about Sheikh Mansour offering billions or Wolfson offering $45 million. These clickbait stories try to paint Eala'S as a commodity, a product to be bought by the highest bidder, a walking endorsement opportunity with no soul or substance. And Eala'S' response to all that noise? She ignores it. She doesn't post photos of Lamborghinis or designer handbags. She doesn't flex her wealth or flaunt her success. She posts photos of her training sessions, showing the unglamorous grind that goes into every victory. She posts photos with her family, reminding everyone where she came from and who keeps her grounded. And as we saw in this viral moment, she gives her equipment to the kids who look up to her. She is rejecting the narrative that she is just a money machine and asserting the narrative that she is a role model. And that distinction, that choice, is everything. The impact of this gesture goes far beyond that one fan. Social media comments on the video of the incident tell the real story. One user wrote that they had been watching tennis for 20 years and had never seen a player look so genuine. Most players do it for the camera. Eala'S did it for the kid. Another commented that the father's reaction was everything. As a dad, I know that feeling. He's not crying for the racket. He's crying because his daughter is happy. These comments, coming from people around the world, prove that this moment transcended tennis and became something universal. It became a story about human connection in an increasingly disconnected world. This is the brand Eala'S is building. It is a brand of authenticity. And ironically, by ignoring the money and focusing on the connection, she makes herself even more valuable. Sponsors love winners, yes. But they love icons even more. And you don't become an icon just by winning matches. You become an icon by winning hearts. Just look at her recent performance in the Middle East. She had a tough loss at the Qatar Open recently, falling in the first round to a higher-ranked opponent in a match that didn't go her way. In the brutal world of tennis, where results are everything and losses are treated like personal failures, a first-round exit usually means you are forgotten until the next tournament. The news cycle moves on. The fans find someone else to cheer for. But because of who she is, because of moments like the one with the racket, the fans didn't abandon her. They flooded her comments with support. Eala'S, they wrote. Just bounce back. We are still proud of you. That loyalty cannot be bought with $10 million. That loyalty is earned, one handshake, one smile, and one gifted racket at a time. It is built through consistency, through showing up as the same person whether you win or lose, through treating people with dignity regardless of their status or bank account. Recent developments in Eala'S' career have only added to the narrative. In late January and early February 2026, she has been competing in tournaments across the Middle East and Asia, grinding through the demanding WTA schedule that requires players to travel constantly, adapt to different time zones, and perform at their peak week after week. The physical toll is immense. The mental toll is even greater. Yet through it all, Eala'S has maintained her connection to her fans. After her loss in Qatar, she took time to sign autographs for young fans who had waited hours to meet her. She didn't hide in the locker room. She didn't rush to the airport. She stayed and did the work of building relationships. The contrast with some of her peers could not be starker. We have seen other rising stars in women's tennis who have let the pressure and the money change them. We have seen players throw fits over minor inconveniences, berate officials over calls they disagreed with, and treat tournaments like they are doing everyone a favor by showing up. The sense of entitlement that comes with success has destroyed more careers than any forehand error ever could. But Eala'S seems immune to it, protected by her upbringing and her values in a way that gives hope for the future of the sport. So what does this tell us about the future of Eala'S? This interaction proves that Eala'S possesses the mental fortitude of a veteran despite her young age. Why? Because it takes immense mental space to notice a fan when you are exhausted. When you have just played a 3-hour match, your brain is fried. Your body is screaming in pain. Your adrenaline is crashing. Every muscle aches. Every joint throbs. Most players have tunnel vision. They just want to get to the locker room, to ice their knees, to collapse on a massage table and let the trainers work out the knots. For Alex to break that tunnel vision, to see the shaking hands of a child in a crowd of thousands, shows a level of awareness that is rare. It shows she is not consumed by the sport. She is in control of it. This bodes well for her 2026 season and beyond. We know she has the shots. We know she has the lefty spin that confuses opponents and creates angles they struggle to defend. We know she has the grit to fight back from a set down, the competitive fire that refuses to die even when the match seems lost. But now we know she has the emotional maturity to handle the fame, the pressure, the expectations, and all the trappings that come with being a global superstar. The $10 million offer, whether a metaphor for the riches of the tour or a viral rumor amplified by the internet echo chamber, is a test. It's a test of character. It's a test of priorities. It's a test of what kind of person you become when the whole world is offering you everything you could ever want. And Alex passed it with flying colors. She chose the connection. She chose the memory. She chose to be the kind of person who sees a shaking child and thinks that matters more than anything happening in the VIP box. And for the father standing in the stands, wiping tears from his eyes as he held his daughter's shoulders, watching her clutch that racket like it was made of solid gold, that choice meant more than any Grand Slam trophy ever could. That moment validated every sacrifice he had made as a parent. Every extra shift he worked to afford those tickets. Every time he chose to invest in his daughter's dreams instead of his own comfort. In that single gesture, Eala'S told him, your daughter matters. Your sacrifice matters. You are doing a good job. And for a parent, especially in a world that constantly makes you question if you are doing enough, that validation is priceless. The ripple effects of this moment will be felt for years. That little girl will grow up remembering the day her hero noticed her. Maybe she will pick up a racket herself. Maybe she will work her way through junior tournaments, dreaming of the day she can do for another child what Alex did for her. Maybe she will become a coach, a teacher, a mentor who passes on the lesson that kindness matters more than rankings. Or maybe she will simply remember that she is seen, that she is valued, and that heroes are real. Any of those outcomes would be a victory. This story is a reminder to all of us. In a world obsessed with the big offer, the big check, and the big break, sometimes the most valuable things are the small gestures of kindness we extend to others. We live in an era of cynicism where we assume everyone has an angle, where we search for the hidden motive behind every good deed, where we have become so jaded that genuine human connection feels almost suspicious. But every once in a while, something happens that cuts through all that noise. Something pure. Something real. Something that reminds us that the best parts of being human, the capacity for empathy and generosity and love, are still alive and well. Eala'S is going to win many more matches. She is going to sign massive contracts, real ones, not just rumors cooked up by social media speculation. She is going to be a superstar who represents the Philippines on the biggest stages in tennis. She might win Grand Slams. She might become world number one. She might break every record Filipino tennis has ever seen and create a legacy that inspires generations. But to that one little girl, and to that grateful father, she will always be the hero who stopped, kneeled, and made them feel like the only people in the world. And honestly, that might be the greatest achievement of all. The question now is what comes next for Eala'S. The 2026 season is still young, and there are major tournaments ahead. The French Open, Wimbledon, the US Open, all the stages where careers are made and legends are born. Can she translate this mental strength into championship-level performances? Can she handle the physical demands of the tour while maintaining the grace and humility that have made her special? Can she navigate the business side of professional tennis without losing the qualities that make her beloved? The early signs are promising. Her training regimen at the Rafa Nadal Academy has been intense, focused on building the stamina and mental resilience needed to compete at the highest levels for years, not just months. She has surrounded herself with a team that prioritizes long-term development over short-term results, people who understand that building a Hall of Fame career requires patience and smart decision-making. And most importantly, she has shown that she understands what really matters. The rankings will fluctuate. The money will come and go. But the relationships you build and the lives you touch, those last forever. There is also the broader context of Filipino sports to consider. Eala is carrying the torch for an entire nation that has hungered for a tennis champion for decades. The Philippines has produced world-class boxers, basketball players, and athletes in other sports, but tennis has always been the frontier, the sport where Filipinos watched from the outside looking in. Eala'S is changing that narrative with every match she plays, every milestone she reaches, every time she proves that Filipinos belong on the biggest stages in tennis. The pressure is enormous, but she seems to thrive on it, using it as fuel rather than letting it become a burden. What makes this story even more powerful is the timing. We are living through a period where sports seem increasingly corporate, increasingly disconnected from the communities that support them. Ticket prices rise. Players become brands. The human element gets lost in the pursuit of profit. But Eala is proof that it doesn't have to be that way. She is proof that you can be successful and humble, that you can be a champion and still take time for the fans who make your career possible, that you can navigate the cutthroat world of professional sports without losing your soul. The father in the stands represents all of us. He represents every parent who has sacrificed for their children, every fan who has invested their emotions in an athlete, every person who has held on to hope that sports can still be about more than money. When he cried for all of us. He cried because he was reminded that the world can still be good, that people can still be kind, that heroes can still be heroic. In a time when we desperately need those reminders, Eala delivered in the most beautiful way possible. This is Court Vision Plus, and we believe in telling the stories that matter. The stories that go beyond the scoreboard and get to the heart of why sports can be so powerful. Was this the classiest move we have seen in tennis this year? Absolutely. Do we think Eala is destined to be a world number one, not just for her skills but for her attitude? We would bet everything on it. And for the parents out there, we ask you, if an athlete did this for your child, how would you react? Would you cry like the father in this story? We think you would, and there would be no shame in it. Because these are the moments that remind us what it means to be human. The $10 million rejection is not really about rejecting money. It is about choosing something more valuable. It is about understanding that legacy is not measured in bank accounts but in the lives you touch. It is about being the kind of person who sees past the noise, past the glamour, past the pressure, and focuses on what really matters. Eala made that choice, and in doing so, she showed us all what a champion really looks like. Not someone who stands on a podium holding a trophy, but someone who kneels in the stands and hands a piece of their heart to a shaking child. This is the story that will be told for years. This is the story that will define Eala'S career no matter how many titles she wins or how much money she earns. This is the story that proves that in a world obsessed with winning, the greatest victory is still being a good person. Thank you for reading, and remember to keep your eye on the ball, but never lose sight of your heart. Stay tuned for more stories from Court Vision Plus, where we bring you the human side of the game we all love.
I would say that anything is possible and, to dream big. I think me as a person, I'm very ambitious and try to just take it with a spoonful of gratitude. I think not a lot of people get to experience this in their lifetime.
One of the things that I love about this city is we celebrate our multicultural, and I tell you what, we have some good Filipino whānau in the building tonight, ladies and gentlemen.